Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Lynn and today I'm going to start off my card with a little bit of coloring. I have stamped out 2 out of the 4 lovely ladies who are part of the Picket Studios BFF Girls Find Your Tribe stamp set. This is an awesome stamp set. I love it because it's got some really wonderful friendship sentiments and longer ones too that are great for the inside of the card, and some of them are really funny and some are a little bit sassy, and so I think it's just wonderful. And there's also a coordinating die set that goes with it that will cut out each of the 4 illustrated images. So as I'm coloring this up, I want to mention that my video today is part of a cross-company collaboration between Picket Studios and Pear Press. So as you saw from the beginning, that short little preview of my card, this will be a light-up card. And I don't often think about doing a light-up card as a sympathy card, but I thought that it would be interesting to take that as a design challenge, and as well to make the shadow that's cast when you light something up and there's something behind the panel that obstructs the light from coming through. I wanted to play with that idea of making that part of a feature as opposed to something that normally I'm trying to avoid. So as I'm coloring this up, I'm keeping the coloring fairly simple, mostly because some of the areas in each of these stamped images are kind of small, and so for me, I'm using the Ohuhu alcohol markers. I do have the brush tips, which also have a fine tip end, but it's still a little bit challenging for me to get into some of those really small areas. So I'm not going to really strive for a 3-color blend, dark, medium, light. I just picked 2, a light and a dark. And I'm actually going to keep the coloring fairly simple. In some places I just use solid, and then in others I went more of a comic book style where you're not really looking for like a smooth blend, but more like those really stark lines of, shadow and then highlight. And so there's not much of a blend between them. So I think that helps to keep the coloring kind of simple. And I start off with 2 girls that I thought I would use, and then I decided last minute that I would add a 3rd girl, so I ended up coloring that one off camera. But the idea that I had was that because these girls do come with coordinating dies, I'm going to use the coordinating dies to cut out my stamped and colored images of the 3 girls that I ended up using that will be visible when the card is not lit up. And I'm going to use the die for the 4th girl, and she's going to be the shadow that is cast when you do turn on the card and you turn on the lights. The light that I'm going to work with is the Halo light from Pear Press, and I love the Halo lights because I feel like it's really good value for money. When you pick up the Halo lights, what you're going to get is 2 Halo lights plus 4 single lights. So in total, you're getting 6 lights, which is really fabulous, and 2 types of lights. So that combo is really, really nice. Gives you a lot of different options. Now to start my scene off though, I am going to stencil on some brick, this brick pattern. It's Brick and Mortar by Picket Studios, and it's a 6x8 stamp set, so rather large. And this would normally be ample for most card sizes, but in actuality my card's going to be a 5x7 landscape, so I am actually going to I'm going to keep a nice soft edge on the right end, and then I'm just going to move my stencil over, find the overlap where the pattern repeats, and then continue on with that brick pattern, and it's really seamless. It's really easy to do on a simple repeat pattern like this one. And what I'm stenciling with, these are super cute. These are pint-sized paper pouncers. Oh, that's a tongueful. So by Picket Fence Studios, these are pint-sized paper pouncers. And you can get the rainbow colored pack like I have here in 9 different colors. And that's really great because then you can kind of dedicate one per each sort of color group. And you don't have to then continually clean them. But they are easy to clean, just a little bit of soap and warm water, and you can clean them. Even if they're stained a little bit, staining means that maybe the sponge dauber will have a color, but it's not like that color will impart onto your project. So that's really great. You can kind of reuse them as you want. There's also another pack that you can get that's just all white, which is great too. And I found that they transfer the ink really well. I mean, it picks up, I'm using a dye-based ink because I want it to soak into the paper and dye the paper fibers rather than sit on top of the papers and then add an extra layer. And so these transferred the ink really, really beautifully, and it was really quick to stencil through this. So I'm starting off with my sentiment at the bottom here that reads "Missing You," and I know Picket Fence Studios has several sentiment strips that are styled in this way. This one doesn't happen to be from them, but I think they might have quite a few that are similar. But I wanted this particular sentiment because I'm making a sympathy card, and I have the 4th girl die cut out of black. I actually die cut twice and glued the 2 together because I wanted it to be really, really nice and dark. That way there's as much contrast as possible between her and the surrounding area that will get lit up behind her. And I wanted to dry fit and position her in such a way that she is centered within the missing you sentiment, because she's sort of that, like her spirit is still with this friend group, and that way she's sort of the focus of this card. And so once I've kind of defined where I want her to be, I make sure to position my halo light where it needs to be. And part of the challenge with the halo light is not so much the mechanism, because it's all just one unit. So everything is built in. You've got the 5 lights that are part of that circular ring. You've got the battery holder. The battery does come included, so all you have to do is just insert the battery into the holder. Make sure that you're taking note of the positive and negative. It's even got the button to turn it on and off. So all of that's built in. And the only thing that you have to maybe take note of when you're sort of composing the design of your card is where you want to position that button. Because of, wanting to put some of the other ladies on this card as well, I wanted to make sure that the button was in a spot where you could push it, where I could still stamp the word push so you would know where to push, but still leave room for the other ladies, the other girls that I wanted to add to this scene. And so that's really the hardest part about installing these, is just where do you want the push button? So once you have that decided, it's as easy as just gluing it down. Now, normally, as I'm putting the foam on this card, I'm usually very generous with the foam because I like it to be nice and secure, and I also don't want there to be any sort of saggy areas. But because I'm actually playing with that whole idea of the silhouette being cast and the shadow being the what gets illuminated, I don't want to put foam in the center there because you're going to see that. you're going to see the foam actually cast a shadow as well if I put it towards the middle of the card. So the only thing that I want to cast a shadow is that die cut of the fourth friend in this group. And that's why I've only put foam around the four edges of the card, and as minimally as I can. And the reason why I colored up a third girl is so that just in terms of the composition of the card when you have it turned off, when you haven't pushed the button yet, I feel like 3 is a good number to have. 2 might feel a little bit incomplete. And so that's why I added the third girl. And then when you find the push button, which I have positioned right next to the head of one of the girls, that way it's a little bit easier to spot that because I did stamp it directly onto one of the bricks. So it's kind of like you have to find the magic brick that you push to turn this whole thing on. But it's conveniently right next to the head of one of the girls. And I feel, for me, when I'm looking at a card and there are human characters, I tend to look at the faces. And so I thought that might be a good spot to put that push button. And of course, when you push it to turn the light on, then you see that cast shadow of the fourth person who is missing from this friend group. So that's the card that I've made today, which features the Picket Fence Studios BFF Girls Find Your Tribe, along with the Pear Blossom Press Halo Light combo. So if you want to check out the other videos on this collaboration hop, do expand the description box below, and you can find links to all the other participants on this hop. Thanks for popping by, and until next time, happy crafting and have a fabulous day. Bye!